Okay, so first let's define what human trafficking actually entails. And I'm lumping in sex trafficking or whatever with human trafficking. And according to the United States Department of Justice, the key elements of human trafficking are action, what the trafficker does, recruiting, harboring, transporting, providing, or obtaining a person. Um, for sex trafficking cases, this can also include patronizing, soliciting, or advertising a person. Means how the action is carried out. This involves using control tactics such as force, physical or sexual abuse, assault, or confinement, fraud, coercion. And then the purpose, the end goal of the trafficker, which would be the subjugation of involuntary servitude, peonage, debt bondage, or slavery, labor trafficking. So yeah, that right there would be the actual definition of human trafficking or sex trafficking. And while I think that, there are a bunch of fucked up ass elements around like the whole aspect of a legal brothel, like in Nevada, and how, their whole shit is set up. And while I do think that I am an objectively worse person for working in them, I don't think that any of the things that I actually experienced in legal Nevada brothels, good or bad, would actually classify as meeting like the legal definition of what human trafficking actually is. And, I'm no legal expert, right? And I could freely and openly admit that, unlike some people, but whatever, not my point. But obviously, judges on multiple occasions and actual lawyers have also, felt the same way that I do, that, while it may be shitty what they're doing, you cannot actually, sue somebody for hurt your feelings. And Nevada brothels actually don't fit the definition of human trafficking. Because there's the one guy, I can't even remember how to pronounce his name, that Jason Guillermo or whatever. He has made he's a lawyer who loves Jesus or whatever. He's made his whole personality about suing the Nevada brothels, and he loses a lot. Because, again, I don't think that any of the things that I experience actually fit the criteria for human trafficking. For an example, okay, action, what the trafficker does. Recruiting, harboring, transporting, providing, or obtaining a person. I do know for a fact that there are a lot of guidelines about like the employee recruitment process for a legal Nevada brothel, okay? So, like, for example, if I had to buy the flights from like the little layover tiny flight into Elko from Salt Lake City, although it would pretty much be a lot cheaper if like they were able to come and drive from Elko and pick me up in Salt Lake City. They can't though, because like that would be I think that falls under the category of actually trafficking and moving people across state lines for the purpose of prostitution. So they're not transporting. Brothels can't reach out to girls and ask them to come work for them. That would be like recruiting or soliciting them, or obtaining them. And I don't know, harboring within like Nevada's laws, like while yes, they are technically, harboring us, one could say, by the fact that the brothels are hosting us. There are laws set up for the legal Nevada brothels that say like that we can't leave the brothel for more than 24 hours without voiding our card. And, since most girls go out there on like little tours or whatever for the specific purpose of just, working as much as possible, yeah, it's not like really like they're harboring us, like we're choosing to be there. We've reached out to them. And also, they're not taking us apart, they're not transporting us across state lines or paying for any of our transportation. So there's that. Means, how the action is carried out. This involves using control tactics such as force, physical or sexual abuse, assault, or confinement. Yeah, so with as much heat as the legal Nevada brothels get, for, oh my God, there's sex trafficking. Yeah, I think that to, you know, outright be like, bitch, do this appointment or I'm gonna beat your ass. I think that that would be like crazy stupid, and that really nobody is gonna be doing that. And also, let me find out. Like, if somebody like tried to force me to do like to see a client that I absolutely did not want to see, such as like, you know, the dude, I would be laughing and packing. And I feel like a lot of people, you know, in Nevada brothels with, yeah, any fragment of a fucking spine would probably do the same if we were actually being forced to see clients that we did not want to see. And while, yeah, I think that a lot of brothel owners might, you know, feel a type of way about you turning down money, the way that I always turn down money is by like charging somebody like a crazy, like if I don't want to see you, I'm going to give you like just some astronomical price that I just know you're not going to pay. And then be like, oh, well, that's what I get from everybody else. And, you know, you could tour with somebody else. So it's like, yeah, while I did turn them down, you know, I also referred them to somebody else. But then at the same time, you're not going to make me see somebody I don't want to see. Flat out. So another means would be fraud, which are false promises of well-paying jobs, education or a better life that are not fulfilled, and coercion, threats of harm to the victim and their family, psychological manipulation, abuse of legal processes, confiscation of identity documents. So, another thing that I think that people get wrong, and especially, you know, butthurt girls that would like to sue the Nevada brothels after leaving them, right? And because I heard, like, when I was researching Nevada brothels before I went out, I was a little bit apprehensive because, like, I heard some real horror stories about girls going out and being fined and blah, 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 which is why I fucking interrogated both places that I interviewed with before I had actually gone out to any legal Nevada brothel. I actually interrogated them about what their like fee structure and what's expected, you know, financially on both ends. I interrogated the fuck out of both places, and I ended up settling on the Desert Rose because the owner of the Desert Rose was able to he was more patient in his explaining process with me, and I felt more comfortable with the explanations that he gave me. And for the record, I did interview the same day within like an hour of each other at the Desert Rose and the Alien Cat House, and I only turned down the Alien Cat House because like I just didn't like the way she didn't really give me an in-depth um explanation that satisfied my, you know, my like apprehensive feelings. But I did go there, and for the record, they were cool, they were above the board, and I just didn't understand what she was telling me at the time. So yeah, so given that, okay, I think a lot of girls want to be like going out to a Nevada brothel, and like, for example, like a lot of the southern houses closer to Vegas will charge you a house fee of like $40 to $60 per day. And if you get a booking, then you won't have to pay that house fee. But if you don't get a booking, then those house fees might start adding up. And if you don't, and if you're just not marketable and you are not capable of, you know, selling parties, then at the end of it, say you book one booking and you're like, okay, yeah, well, I booked them for $2,500, and so it's 50-50, and I'm gonna get, you know, $1,700, whatever the fuck. I get that's probably wrong. That number's definitely wrong. But anyways, and then they hit you with 2 weeks worth of house fees because you didn't get any other bookings. Yeah, well, that's shitty. You should have took that into consideration before you pick that house. And while some might say that's exploiting and, you know, stealing the money, that's like a term and condition that if you would have paid the fuck attention or gave it any kind of thought, that's something that could have been avoided and been taken into consideration in your decision making process to come out to work in a legal Nevada brothel. Is it shitty? Yes. Is it a bad thing to happen to you? Yeah. But also, that's like, for me, that's why I like interrogated, you know, the owner of these brothels before I went there to know what to expect and, assume my own risk from there. Like, so yeah, I think that ties into a lot of like the butthurt claims from girls like, oh, they exploited me financially. No, they didn't. You signed up for it. And when you sign things, you should probably read the things that you sign and be fully aware of what you're getting yourself into. And then the other thing would be coercion, threats of harm to the victim or their family, psychological manipulation, abuse of legal processes, or confiscation of identity documents. And outside of the psychological manipulation factor, which definitely it was a big thing for me, and probably probably one of the worst things that has happened to me in a legal Nevada brothel. The end result of it was just basically they hurt my feelings. So um, that really doesn't constitute really sex trafficking as having hurt feelings. So with that little underlying part one, and honestly, like, I'm just I'm looking at the definition from the US Department of Justice and comparing this to my actual lived experience and in my non-lawyer brain and telling you that actual lawyers do agree with the opinions that I'm giving right now and have repeatedly said that, hey, this is not human trafficking. Is it shitty? Is there a better way? Absolutely. Would I still go to work in a legal Nevada brothel? Absolutely. Yeah. I plan on doing so at some point soon, like within the next couple of months. And the only reason that I would choose to go back for tours is because, like, I don't agree with the system of legal Nevada brothels, but it's the best system that we have right now, as opposed to, criminalized prostitution. So yeah, I could do a part two about like what I think an actual solution would be, but whatevs.